Welcome to Healing Starts From Within with Dr. Shauna. Join me as we explore ways to improve our physical, mental, and spiritual health by healing from the inside out. Hi, I'm Dr. Shauna, and today I want to talk to you about vitamin D and how we can use it as a weapon in the fight against COVID-19. The coronavirus, or COVID-19 pandemic, has affected each and every one of us in one way or the other in the past year, whether by affecting our day-to-day lives, to watching loved ones become infected and struggle with the disease, or becoming infected ourselves. There is a lot of information out there about COVID-19, and frankly, the information seems to be constantly changing. In this video, I want to talk about one specific thing that we can all do to help protect ourselves against COVID-19, or at least reduce the severity if we do happen to get infected. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is a well-known vitamin necessary for our bodies. When people think of vitamin D, they tend to think of bone health. But what vitamin D plays a bigger role in is our immune system. Now, have you ever wondered why the cold and flu season tends to be during the fall and winter months when the days are shorter and there's less sunshine? One reason is because our vitamin D levels tend to be lower at that time as well, which then leaves us unprotected from viruses. Vitamin D, specifically D3, is considered the sun vitamin, because 50 to 90% of our vitamin D3 is produced by our skin under the UV radiation influence of the sun. Now, vitamin D can also come from our diet, but overall it begins in the skin and not in the mouth. Some dietary sources of vitamin D do include egg yolks, fatty fish, fortified dairy products, and beef livers. Now, I know it's pretty safe to assume most of us are not going to eat those dietary sources of vitamin D to keep our levels at optimum. Vitamin D insufficiency is considered between 20 and 29 nanograms per milliliter in our blood levels. Below 20 nanograms per milliliter is considered deficient. However, some practitioners actually consider below 50 nanograms per milliliter in our blood to be low vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency can cause things such as obesity, hypertension, depression, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and even some neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. Low vitamin D may also contribute to the development of some cancers, specifically breast, colon, and prostate. Now, about 40% of Americans are considered deficient in vitamin D, with the aging population and those with darker skin tones being at a much greater risk because they produce vitamin D3 levels in their skin at a much slower rate. Now, as you can see, overall, the vitamin D and the low vitamin D in our bodies can affect our health in many ways. And if 2020 has taught me anything, it has taught me that focusing on myself and my health is very important. Now, the best way to ensure our vitamin D levels stay at optimum would be to spend 15 to 20 minutes a day outside in the sun with about 40% of our skin exposed. Now, obviously, those in the aging population with darker skin tones need to spend at least double that. So I would say about 30 to 50 minutes, maybe even an hour outside because of the slower production rate in their skin. Now, there may be some of you that are in an area that's cold right now, and you're thinking, there is no way I can spend that much time outside with that much skin exposed and not get frostbite. Or maybe you're concerned about that much sun exposure to your skin and the damage it may cause. Either way, don't fret. There is another way that we can get and keep our vitamin D at optimal levels to boost our immune system and improve our overall health. That's taking a daily vitamin D3 supplement. Now, vitamin D is a fairly easily attainable and cheap supplement to find. However, as with all supplements, not all of them are created the same as far as quality goes. Some vitamin D3 supplements that I have used that are very good quality come from places such as Thorne Laboratories, the Now brand, Purium, Standard Process, NutraWest, and I also found a really good product on Amazon that has vitamin D3 and vitamin K2, which actually helps our body absorb the vitamin D3 at a much faster rate. All of the links to those are going to be found down in the description. The most important thing to remember is to find a supplement without any fillers and that has the non-GMO Butterfly Project symbol on the label. The best amounts of vitamin D3 to take daily range between 1,000 and 5,000 IU, with some people who are more deficient in vitamin D obviously needing a little bit more. Now, you can get your vitamin D3 levels checked at your primary care physician's office with a very simple blood test. Thorne Laboratories also offers a home test kit that you can order, do the test at home, send back and get your results. I have included the link to that Thorne home test kit down in the description. Now, although it's very rare, I do need to mention it is very possible to get high vitamin D levels, which then results in high calcium levels. Some signs and symptoms of high vitamin D include nausea and vomiting, constipation, loss of appetite, increased thirst, increased urination, mental and mood changes, and unusual tiredness. I personally take 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 along with my other daily supplements and have done that for quite some time and haven't had any issues. So, now that we know why vitamin D3 is important for our health and how to get and keep our levels at optimum, let's get into why I'm sure all of you are here. And that is how we can use vitamin D as a weapon in the fight against COVID-19. Now, before I get into any specific articles or the one study that I found, it is very important for us to understand how and what vitamin D does with our immune system to protect us. So vitamin D helps reduce excessive inflammatory cytokines. These are very common in what we call acute respiratory distress syndrome, also known as ARDS, which causes the pneumonia and the more lethal cases of COVID-19. In my research, I found several studies that have linked vitamin D with increased infection rates of COVID-19, increased hospitalizations, and increased severity of the disease. I have chosen a few specific excerpts to share today, and the links to the full articles and studies are found in the description. The first study comes from December 11, 2020, was in Medscape Medical News, and the title is Vitamin D Deficiency in COVID-19 Quadrupled Death Rate. Now, the actual number was a 3.7-fold increase in the likelihood of dying from COVID-19, and this was observed during the first wave of the pandemic. Now, it states that 60% of patients who were hospitalized were deficient in vitamin D, and this was observed and reported by physicians at AZ Delta General Hospital in Roeselare, Belgium. Now, they also found that as the severity of the illness increased, the percentage, specifically in males, of low vitamin D increased as much as 75% in those in stage 3 pneumonia. Andrea Justina, MD, president of the European Society of Endocrinology, stated she believed the finding was most likely due to the protective action of vitamin D on the immune system and against the SARS-CoV-2 induced cytokine storm. A study I found in Scientific Reports from 2020 looked at patients aged 30 to 60 that were admitted during a 6-week study period. The patients included an asymptomatic group and patients with severely ill and requiring ICU admission. The study included 154 patients, 91 in Group A, the asymptomatic group, and 63 in Group B, the severely ill and admitted to the ICU group. It found that 32.96% of those in Group B were vitamin D deficient, but 96.82% in Group B were vitamin D deficient. It also found an increase in inflammatory markers in those with vitamin D deficiency. The study concluded an increased mortality rate in vitamin D deficient COVID-19 patients and suggested a mass supplementation to populations at risk for COVID-19. The last article I want to go over came from the Clinical Medicine Journal of London, and it states, I quote, "Low vitamin D levels have been associated with an increase in inflammatory cytokines and a significant increased risk of pneumonia and viral upper respiratory tract infections. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with thrombotic episodes, which are frequently observed in COVID-19. Vitamin D deficiency has been found to occur more frequently in patients with obesity and diabetes. These conditions are reported to carry a higher mortality in COVID-19. If vitamin D does in fact reduce the severity of COVID-19 in regard to pneumonia, ARDS, inflammation, inflammatory cytokines, and thrombosis, it is our opinion that supplements would offer a relatively easy option to decrease the impact of the pandemic." As you can see in the studies in the article, vitamin D deficiency can definitely be linked to an increase in the severity of COVID-19. And I completely agree with the statements that a mass supplementation program to those populations that are at risk of COVID-19 would greatly reduce the impact the COVID-19 pandemic has on our society. However, I would go a little bit further and say that each and every one of us should be taking a proactive step and take at least 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 every day, not only to protect us from COVID-19, but to boost our immune system and to improve our overall health. Now, I hope you have enjoyed this video and have gained some valuable knowledge on how we can take vitamin D and use it as a weapon in our fight against COVID-19. I would love to hear your feedback and any of your questions in the comments. And as always, remember, healing starts from within.